Okay. Now, yeah, which part of the lecture now? Is this part four or part five? I don't quite remember. Okay. So anyway, yes. So after this, I think this should be part four now. So after this, you see when you get the definition ready, and then the most important thing is when you set up the standards and the way of checking, make sure that everything is number based. Like, even like I said, if you say that the wall is smooth, when you write in a specification that you want to have a smooth wall, then you better have there in the standards or in the checklist, what do you mean by smooth wall? Let's say plastering work. Are you going to have it like certain thick? Do you have a machine to check, or are you going to use an ant, and ask the ant to climb out the wall? If the wall is smooth, then the ant will fall down. It's like, you must have that particular logic there, and you must have that particular numbers. Having the ant moving up the wall that is smooth, is if that is the test that you are going to put in there, and you put that there, then the contractor has to follow. You see, there is nothing wrong with that. If you want to do an ant test or a fly test or whatever test that you want to do, but as long as this is being communicated from the requirement of the client to the designer to the person who is going to build it. So this tripartite meeting of minds is very important. The person who is designing the job needs to be very clear with the person who is going to be building it, so that they actually fully understood the requirement. So this definition that I've been emphasizing on since, for the past 10 minutes, is basically saying that you must, as an engineer, do not leave things hanging. Do not leave things just using very qualitative wordings. If you have chosen the level, the client has already chosen the level, you've already communicated with him. When you start to put your design into pictures, into words, into standards, into specifications, into anything that you want it to be, to show the person who is going to be carrying it. You can do 3D modeling or whatever, but at the end of the day, it also must be communicated to the builders, the person who are building the job, building the work, you see. So, and when you put down that in the standards, it has to be very number based. It has to be using good quality control tools that is number based. And if your process must be step by step number based, then you have less potential for arguments later. Okay, so this is what we meant by the processes of definition. So once you do definition, definition is part of quality management. There are many approaches to quality management. These are all some of the basic theory of quality management, but the background that we are emphasizing on is what we call TQM, or total quality management. You see, so total quality management is a very unique approach. It's actually very people oriented, it's actually measurement driven, it's actually customer focused, and it's actually long-term strategically oriented management styles. Okay, these few words may sound like, oh boy, you've been listening to these sort of things, like for the past 4 years in universities, it's like, wow, what is it all about? Well, actually, if you look at it very carefully, measurement driven is what I've been talking about. Numbers. What is the objective? What is the purpose? What is the numbers? Customers focus, of course, you need to know what is the meeting of the minds, you see. And then people oriented, again, is about who is going to build it, who are going to communicate it to, who is going to know your mind of what you design. When you look at a painting, 10 people can look at it differently. If you look at drawings, 10 people can define it all differently. You'll be surprised. I can put up a picture of something, like the game that we play, or old woman, young woman, the picture, but some people will see it as an old woman, some people will see it as a young woman, you see. So again, it's people driven. You need to see from, everybody has to be in the same wavelength. So that's why people is driven. You must make it people oriented. And also, not only that, it has to be people underneath you, people who are actually building it, people who are actually the workers, the people using their hands to do the job. They must be able to understand what is the approach here? What is the management approach here? Why must I do this? Why is it important to my engineer that they ask me to do this? So when they understand it, it's just like in the factory environment, when they say you must wear glove, when you must wear your boot, then there must be a reasoning for it. If not, then people will be forgetting all about it. It's just that now you tell people to wear mask. Everybody wears it because they don't want to get COVID, you see. So these are people-driven, is purpose-driven, is actually measurement-driven. Then it's very clear, you see. It's very clear why, and people will do it because they understand. And it will be long-term, like the improvement has to be again and again, making things better and better each time. So this is what we call TQM. There is really no such thing as inferior quality, inadequate quality if you do not have a proper objective, if you do not have a proper goal, if you do not have a proper measurement. Okay, so if we have that, then you can easily say that this is wrong, this is inadequate, this is rejected. If you have that, nobody can argue with you. So TQM emphasizes on that. It emphasizes on the whole management process of the processes of work. So starting from definition, then what is the project objective, what is the project goal, and then you set up your documents. You set up what we call a project quality plan. A project quality plan is a document that is required to actually spell out the project quality requirement and how those requirements can be met. What are the work methods that you have to do it, and how you're going to check it, and how frequently you're going to check it, and how, if the data is being compiled, what sort of statistical method are you going to use to do the calculation and all that, and if the result comes out to be no good, what are you going to do about it? So Malaysia now, a lot of us we like to do PQP, and I'll explain PQP in the next recording. So TQM is like this concept that really is very beneficial. This is the purpose of having TQM, and I love to have this question in an exam all the time. Why do you want to do TQM? What does it do for you? So it actually makes the organization recognize the concept. It creates the awareness. It creates that kind of togetherness, and it's about setting goals. It's about giving proper training. It's about reporting on progresses. It's about showing recognition. It's about communicating results and all that. So total quality management and traditional quality management, there is two different things here. One is looking for a quick fix, one is a very long-term thing, one is about building people, one is about fixing people, one is about having control, one is about people doing it themselves because they wanted it, and then traditional management is about finding faults, it's about fighting, it's about stresses, but total quality management is about culture. It's about building that new culture, new thoughts, new mentality, new focus, that makes people want to do it, that makes people aware of the requirement, and therefore it is something that is going to be moving by its own momentum at the end of the day. Okay. Right. So these are the elements of TQM. It's customer focus, it's continuous improvement, it's about change management, it's about leadership, it's about planning, policy, quality assurance. You see. So planning, yes, we've gone through that just now. Okay, lots of planning. Lots of manual. You're doing that manual. That manual is in the PQP. The next, I have a next set of notes that is talking about quality manual, and that is usually in the form of PQP, project quality plan. Okay, so you must have that, and then after that, it's about communicating. It's about communicating to the builders, and you are communicating with the clients in terms of what you're going to build. Okay.